This is Natalina Love here with Naomi Thompson, brilliant Naomi Thompson, and Rory Ray, our feminine energy geniuses. We're talking about hard borders. Naomi, what is this?
Well, we talk about boundaries. We all have heard of boundaries. We've all heard ourselves and women saying, he didn't respect my boundary. And I've just got to put up my boundary. He crossed that boundary. And I've got a whole take on boundaries. And for me, a boundary is just something that is in service to my well-being. And it's totally all about me. And it's up to me to uphold it. And the boundary is deeper than that. To me, the word boundary doesn't work. It's like, what is it that a situation makes me feel? What am I willing to tolerate going on inside of me constantly? What am I willing to tolerate situations I put myself in? There is power and magic in taking responsibility. Whereas when we say, he didn't respect my boundary, what we're doing is putting all our power, all our feminine power, all of our happiness, our equilibrium, our peace over in someone else's hands. And it can become like a hard border, like a checkpoint, like a place that if he crosses that line, he's out of here, you know? And to me, that's a very sort of armored place. And as a woman, I don't want that for us. I don't want that hard border. I think that is a way that we try and protect our heart from getting too close. We become like a detective looking for evidence that he's crossed this border. And I don't think it serves us. So I really welcome this conversation.
Yeah, we could almost even call this how we sneak into masculine energy territory, where everything Rory's given to us is all about how to be soft, how to be open, how to be in what we really want and committing to what we want, where somewhere it gets translated to this is how things have to be. It becomes hard borders, it becomes ultimatums, it becomes we lose that softness and we don't even realize where we lost it in this battle for what I need and what I want. Where when we actually come back to Rory's whole philosophy, the whole modern siren philosophy is all about this is what I want, this is what I need, this is how I know I'm thriving. I've got my wings, I've got my fins, I'm in full force feminine siren, and we attract in from that place where the men we meet, the people that we meet, the whole world responds to that desire in us in a very different way. And it's not a line in the sand, or it may be, but it's a much more softer experience of I know this is my best self when this is me. Or we've heard Rory say, I never really considered myself to be a high maintenance girl, and yet maybe I am. It completely changes this conversation, and we get to unarmor ourselves in the presence of a man, in the presence of other women, the sisterhood, the world. It's pretty phenomenal.
That was so lovely. Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know what? I'm going to take from what you guys have talked about and get specific. We think of specific situations and rules. Rules and boundaries are like a little pair. So let's say you don't want to have certain kind of sex until you are married. You don't want to be a girlfriend. Let's talk about my rules about circular dating. It's like, why would I be your girlfriend? So I can make rules. We need to talk every single day. I need to see you 3 times a week. I need to know that marriage is on the table. I need to know that we are this, that, and the other. We do this, that, and the other, and I'm satisfied in this way. Okay, so those are nice little lists that are helpful. And the reason they're helpful is so many women I talk to make excuses. I haven't seen him in a month, but I know how busy he is. So it would be easy to bounce back to the rule. Wait a minute, I need to see him 3 times a week. That can be helpful. Yet, what we're looking here for is strength, the feminine power of being in your feminine energy and not having rules. In other words, I don't have rules, but I have such strong sensibilities for what feels good to me and what doesn't, that is enough to be my watchtower. So if I haven't seen him in a week, rather than giving him an excuse, I would say, this doesn't feel so good. And then the question, what do I do about it? Well, why am I his girlfriend comes up. And then all the anger and all that stuff that we need to work through, because all the anger and all that stuff that's all part of our soup is all a reaction to the fact that we feel unsettled and unboundaried. And the answer is not to get hard borders, hard boundaries, and make rules, because that just puts us into our masculine and closes us up, makes us hard, and confuses us, because our feeling self doesn't relate to that. Our feeling self goes, wait a minute, I need to talk about this. And that's where we work on talking with a man about what's going on and how you're feeling, and learning to do that by getting in as least scary situations as possible and talking through that until you can learn how to talk through the really tough, terrible stuff, and make not rules for yourself, but just simple decision making. This feels good, this doesn't feel good. Decisions. I don't want to see that guy if this is the way it's going to go. No, I want to. And the way it works is you feel, all of a sudden you feel free, and all of a sudden you feel, oh, good. And all of a sudden this feels right, as opposed to all of a sudden you're going, you're trying to get smaller. That's what I'd like for you all to feel from this video. Naomi?
Yeah.
Natalini, anything more?
And the place where I see that we can, what connecting with what feels good and what doesn't feel good, for me, the boundary would be inside of us. Like, am I going to let the part of me that is just excited by chemistry and the bad boy, am I going to let them lead? Or do I set that boundary with myself and go, no, I need a kind, consistent man. That's my boundary. That's my boundary for myself. That's my rule for myself. Now, if a man isn't kind, doesn't mean he's bad. If a man is a bit hot and cold, doesn't mean he's a bad man. He's just not for me, because my boundary with myself is, I don't go for hot and cold men. This girl needs sense, needs kind. And that's what I say to all of the women we work with, is that the boundary is in you. It's in you. It's like, what are my rules within me? Not what are my rules for him? Because if we're waiting for a man to obey our rules, we're going to get really pissed and frustrated and annoyed and angry and pull away even more, because we're not going to want to show all those yucky feelings. But if I'm saying, well, it's just non-negotiable for me, I need a really consistent, solid, loving guy, and this one isn't, so I'm going to just have to say no to him. That to me is the boundary. The chemistry junkie in me doesn't get to lead. My boundaries are with her, So that's how I see it. It comes, the rest of the world can show up the way they show up. And I just get to flow towards them or away from them,
It's a way for us to get into that more softer place. The expressing what we want, that's such a huge siren skill. That's such an important siren skill. And through this, where do I thrive? What doesn't feel good for me? What do I want? Does this person see me? Am I seeing them? Through this whole process, we're going deeper into relationship. We're getting deeper into intimacy with ourselves and with the world, with another person, with a man. appreciating a man, appreciating us, which is all about increasing value, right? Rory's all about increasing our value to ourselves and the world, increasing our self-worth. It's incredible how this one conversation on what I want, what I don't want, my boundaries, and how hard and how firm and how maybe even how mean I need to get in defending those boundaries can turn into intimacy, can turn into a platform for really profound connection to happen. So this is great that we're talking about it.
Mm.
To get more relationship advice, check out this video next.